This is totally not Danzig, and you're listening to the Shred Shack.
Greetings, folks. I'm Dan Mack.
And this is Chris Mack.
And welcome you to episode 132 of the Shred Shack podcast, your premier source of news and uninformed yet heavily biased opinions pertaining to all things heavy metal, airing bi-weekly on iTunes, Mixcloud, Google Play, iHeartRadio, and YouTube at youtube.com/AdamantsTemplum and youtube.com/The Shred Shack. Yeah, I got that down just right.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah,
Nice.
I got this. All right, so let's start with some old business.
All right, old business. A lot of these have to do with lineup changes that we've been talking about the last couple of weeks.
Okay.
So Onslaught have announced the addition of vocalist Dave Garnett to the group's ranks. Garnett has already performed with Onslaught, having filled in for previous singer Cy Keeler at the House of Metal Festival in Umeå, Sweden in late November. You know, before things went to shit.
Yeah.
Nervosa have announced their new lineup. After a long and rigorous audition process, Aprika Amaral, which is Nervosa's creator, founding member, and guitarist, has been joined by vocalist Diva Satanica of Bloodhunter, bassist Mia Wallace, formerly of Abath and Triumph of Death, and drummer Ilani Nota of Mask of Prospero and Croak Madame. So they went from being a trio to
being a quartet.
Which is probably going to be badass.
Yeah. But
especially for like a thrash metal band.
But also that name, what was it? Was it Diva Satan Hunter? Satanica, whatever.
That sounds like the title of a Danzig movie.
I know, right? It really does. It sounds absolutely perfect. I love it. But that'll be interesting to see how they sound as a quartet.
Mm-hmm.
So,
thinking it sound a little bit, probably a little more guitar harmony going on involved.
That'll be cool. So.
A lot of potential there. It's going to be great.
Yeah.
All right. Last but not least here, David Diepold. Anyway, he is a well-known drummer for Benighted, Hate, Belphegor, Give Me Blood, and Cognizance. And he's known for his highly technical signature playing in extreme metal, has joined the German progressive death metalers Obscura as a permanent member. He collaborated internationally with several groups as session player and is also working as a drum teacher. He has appeared on Cognizance's first full-length album, Malignant Dominion, in 2019, among other recordings.
Cool.
Yes, sir.
Interesting.
Okay.
Is that it for old business?
That is it for old business.
So let's move on to new business. And with new business, we start talking about first new album releases, of which I have none because I feel like not much of interest to me came out personally.
All right. Well, I'll go through a few.
Mm-hmm.
I'll start with what came out May 1st, because that's, I think, the one around the time we recorded the last podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And I was listening to certain things. So there was Aether Realm, that was very good. An Autumn for Crippled Children, All Fell Silent, Everything Went Quiet, that was very good. Havok is a great record, their album 5. Just good old thrash metal right there.
Mm-hmm.
Vader, kind of a stalwart in the thrash metal scene, I think. But I think my favorite one from that particular week, though, was Witchcraft, black metal, which is not black metal at all. It's just a singer and a guitar and an acoustic guitar, and it's really fucking good.
Mm-hmm.
I was a big fan of that one. At the same time, that week came out Atonement 2, which is B-Sides for Charity, which is probably from Killswitch Engage, came out. It's a quick EP of some songs from the Atonement sessions, and Killswitch Engage, awesome.
Yeah.
I didn't listen to much from May 8th, but I'm looking through the list now, and it looks like a lot of stuff that I need to catch up on.
Mm-hmm.
Oathbreaker, a band that I particularly like, came out with a record. It looks like Sojourner came out with a record on May 8th. We've been talking about them for a while. A couple other ones that I need to catch up on. And now from this past week, I got a lot of stuff queued up, and I listened to maybe a handful of things already from this week. First things first, I tried to listen to Asking Alexandria, and that was a mistake.
I like how you prefaced that with try.
Yeah, that was a mistake. That was not good. I did not enjoy that whatsoever.
What are they again?
I think they're kind of like, I don't know,
I kind of associate it with like that like I think metalcore.
Yeah, with more of like a pop edge. Like it sucked. I was not a fan. I hated it actually. It downright sucked.
I hope you weren't listening to it while working out.
No, I was driving.
Okay.
I was driving.
That's even worse.
No, fortunately enough, it was just easy at a red light to change up to the next album that I listened to, which was Firewind, and that was so much better.
Okay. Yeah.
So much better.
Okay.
But their self-titled album was starting off pretty good. Like I said, that was like about the only thing I had a chance to listen to this week. But coming up in the queue is Paradise Lost, their new record, Obsidian, a band called Binary Codes. Triptychon has a live album out, and a bunch of other stuff from this week that I'll be catching up on to get going. But man, do yourselves a favor. Do not, repeat, do not listen to Asking Alexandria.
Yeah, I feel like I've never heard any of their stuff, but I've always kind of associated them on the negative side.
Yes, they're that band where I think the meme is like someone tells you that their favorite, that they listen to a lot of metal, and the first band they mention is Asking Alexandria, and it's just like, smother them with a pillow kind of thing.
Yeah, one of those things.
Yeah,
like one of those 5-finger death punch ones.
Yeah, one of those. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, them and maybe Avenged Sevenfold and stuff like that. And,
yeah.
Although I like Avenged Sevenfold.
I love Avenged Sevenfold, so whatever.
Yeah. Anyway, so then what else have we been listening to?
Well, let's go through our albums of the day. We only did 1 week of albums of the day. We needed to take a break last week to do some catching up on certain things. So, a couple weeks ago, we did, you did Angra, Aurora Consurgens, and I listened to Ear and Uprise, Penumbrum.
Okay, so
Penumbra,
and that's not the last you'll hear of that album from us.
That, honestly, man, you gotta get on that.
Yeah, the tracks I keep like starting it, and then I have to stop it because I'm in the middle of work and everything, and what I hear of it, I'm like, yeah.
And the thing is, every time I go back to it, I like it more.
Yeah. So.
All right, then next up we got Bob Dylan, Traveling Through, featuring Johnny Cash. What a fucking great record! I never heard it, but still, it sounds great.
Yeah.
And this is from the Bootleg series, Volume 15.
Yep.
All right, I listened to the Aether Realm album, Redneck Vikings from Hell. Great. You listened to some Ozzy Osbourne, No Rest for the Wicked.
Yep.
And I listened to Witchcraft Black Metal. Primal Rock Rebellion for you.
Yep.
That's a good record.
Yeah.
I was a big fan of that one. Anyone who doesn't know, that's the record that Adrian Smith did with the lead singer from Sixth. Yep. And I listened to Havok 5. The last album of the day that we did, I listened to Trivium's new record, What the Dead Men Say, which is fucking great, and you listened to Sixth, their Apacities record, EP, actually.
Which was on my favorites list when it came out.
Yeah, I think it was my album of the day a while back, when it came out.
Yeah, it's been a while. But,
yeah, it's been a few years.
Yeah, but yeah, definitely an awesome EP, and there's a talking track on there that like it's so awesome. Like you feel like sometimes tracks that are just dialogue or a monologue would kind of break up something like that, but it's done in such a way that is absolutely perfect, especially like just for the flow of the album, the style of the music and everything. It's so good. I could listen to just that track on repeat, and it's like a minute and a half of just talking.
I've only had one track like that's ever hit me like that, and that's the closing track on Stone Sour's debut record. It's just Corey Taylor reading something, and it's all spoken word. And I fucking loved it. That was cool.
But what else have we been listening to?
Ozzy, lots of Ozzy. Only because catching up on some of the stuff that we're doing, like the 10-word review on Ozzy. So I listened to the entire discography this week.
Yeah. Has that been enlightening for you?
It was good, you know. Definitely some slow parts.
Yeah.
But you know, I got some puns worked up, ready to go for the.
Oh, fuck.
Oh yeah, you better fucking believe it, bro.
No, that's great.
Oh yeah, you better fucking believe it.
That's great.
But other than that, it's just, you know, just random shit, really.
Okay. So I am currently up to Anthrax in my my A to Z listen.
Still in the A's. It's amazing.
Shut up, dude. Can you? I want you to sit here and just think about it. I've been doing this since September. I haven't hit Arion yet.
Yeah.
That and I'm doing.
You're up to 8N, which is like the middle of the alphabet.
I'm doing CDs, vinyl, and DVDs all at once.
Oh man, you're gonna be on Arion for like a month.
I know, right? Pat was saying while we
Well, I'm sorry, not to interrupt you, but here's a question I have.
Yeah.
When you say, you know, everything, like, do you have to listen to like the Electric Castle like 3 times? We have 3 different versions of it.
No.
Okay.
No. If I listen to the album itself once,
okay.
I listen to the album and then I listen to the live album.
Okay.
So.
Gotcha.
Now, if it was something like I had a CD of demos from that album or something like that, and then I listened to the demos, of course. Then I listened to the album. You know, I listened to, you know, the differences.
Yeah.
So, if I have 2 copies of the same album, I'll listen to the one that has the most tracks.
Okay, but
So,
the bonus shit.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
because like for Anthrax, I have 2 copies of Stomp 442. But one of them is the expanded edition, so I listen to the expanded edition because it has more tracks.
Gotcha.
So, what was it? So Anthrax, I'm starting to like sit here and think about things, and it's something that I actually want to bring up later on as our discussion. But I'm kind of finding myself more toward the side of the John Bush era. Really? Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, and I think I'll get into that later, but like I'm just enjoying it a lot more. Just like stylistically, musically, you know, like I like thrash, but I mean, there's just something about the style that they went for that I like a lot more.
I think that would probably be for me. It's just that's when I got into Anthrax, because I never just jumped into him like I did with Metallica. I jumped into him in the John Bush era, especially with Inside Out, and then like my first Anthrax record that I actually purchased in hand was, what was the one?
Sound of White Noise?
No, the last one that they did with John Bush.
Oh, We've Come For You All.
Yeah, that one. And that's when the first time I saw them live was with John Bush.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like I would just associate them with the John Bush era.
Yeah.
And like everything that's with Joey Belladonna, that's always been classic and catching up. And then after that, it's just like after John Bush left.
Yeah.
You know.
So I'm going to bring up more of this with our discussion because I came up with it yesterday and I just remembered what I wanted to talk about.
Awesome, badass.
So cool. But I'm up to Anthrax. I finished Stomp 442 as of yesterday. I'm up to Volume 8. So I still have the new stuff with Belladonna. I have the live album and the live DVD to watch. So
I'm just remembering your review of For All Kings.
It's good.
It's good. The rest of us had a lot to say about the record, and then just chimes in, it's good. That was the best.
Yeah. That's another album I need to give another listen to, but that's what this is all for, is to be able to give my entire collection a good solid listen, and anything I don't like I give to you.
It's true.
Yeah, I mean, it's what I've done so far. So, but aside from Anthrax, I've been listening to a little bit of Grand Magus. I finished up buying up their CDs.
Oh, cool.
So I've been slowly going through them and getting to listen to them. I feel like I listened to their first album twice, and like they were so groove heavy. Like they were a little more groove heavy early on, and it was so good. Like it's like I'm finding myself more towards that kind of like doom stoner rock kind of side, that side that has those thick Sabbathy riffs, and like just great grooves, and Grand Magus is definitely one of them. And I love JB's voice.
Yeah, for sure.
It makes it that much better. Aside from that, I bought up a lot of Dylan lately, new and old.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if you've heard any like latter day Dylan.
Not really.
Okay,
I just know his voice is a little.
His voice is like raspy as fuck.
Yeah, it's like a little shot.
Yeah, like
but
it works.
Yeah,
it really does. Especially like there's a particular track on an album he did about 8 years ago. It's called Scarlet Town. I've like re-listened to this song like 10 times. It's like 7 minutes of this kind of this eerie groove, this kind of dreary sounding song, and his voice is just like this raspy like storytelling. Like it's like the sound of like a montage basically. And it's very cool. I love the song. I'm finding myself more toward his voice now. He has a new album coming out in June.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah,
how many is that for him? Like
a lot.
53? Like,
a lot.
The fuck?
It's also an album of actual his own music, because the last time that he released an album of his own music was 8 years ago. He's been doing other people's music since then.
He's been doing other people's music? What do you mean, like cover albums?
Yeah, basically like cover albums of like I guess American classics.
Oh, I got you.
So
okay.
he's done like 3 albums of that, and now he's gone back to writing his own material, and that's what this new album's going to be.
Gotcha.
So I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, it's been a lot of Dylan to help me like chill out like between doing my work. So,
yeah, I can hear that.
So
that's what that Witchcraft black metal record has been doing for me. It's really good.
Mm-hmm.
Again, it's just a dude and his guitar, and it's fairly short. Yeah, but it's really relaxing. Yeah, really relaxing.
One last thing I didn't mention. I bought a Beseech album. It was on my top 3 a few years ago when it came out, called My Darkness Darkness. Very hymn sounding.
Who sounding?
Him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, kind of like they used to kind of sound a little more slower, doomish, harsh vocals. Now they're like strictly clean between male and female vocals.
Okay.
Just very, very morose sounding.
Yep.
And it's a great record, and I couldn't get it for a good price on Amazon, so I bought it from Discogs.
Cool.
So I was like, there we go. But that's what I've been listening to.
Very nice. All right. Are we ready?
Yes.
All right. Well, we're going to start off with our obituaries, of course. Get it out of the way.
Oh, fuck.
Well, rock legend Little Richard has died at the age of 87. Mm-hmm. His son, Danny Penniman, confirmed the musician's death to Rolling Stone, but said the cause of death was unknown. But Little Richard passed away.
Yeah, that one was a surprise. There's been a surprising amount of non-COVID related death in the last few days.
Yes.
It's been like, what the fuck?
Like every day, at least like 2 or 3 people are dying. Like they're not happening in 3s anymore. They're happening in like 33s. It feels like.
Yeah, and it's not necessarily related to the pandemic at hand, and it's like, the fuck is going on?
Right? But 87, that's a good long life, and anyone who doesn't know, I think Little Richard was one of Lemmy's most favorite performers of all fucking time. Mm-hmm. Like, I remember watching the Lemmy documentary, and it was him and Dave Grohl just talking about Little Richard for like a 15-minute span on the movie. It was crazy. Mm-hmm. But he absolutely loved that guy.
Yeah.
Last but not least here, according to TMZ, former Bad Company singer Brian Howe has died at the age of 66. Howe passed away Wednesday, May 6th at his home in Florida after suffering cardiac arrest. He had a history of heart issues, having previously had a heart attack in 2017. The singer was reportedly involved in a road traffic accident in Florida at the end of April, in which he suffered broken ribs. Just 6 days before his death, he updated a fan who asked about his recovery after the accident. And he said he wasn't doing very well. Howe fronted Bad Company between 1986 and 1994 and provided vocals on hit albums including 1988's Dangerous Age and 1990's Holy Water.
I think those are the only two albums I don't have yet from Bad Company.
I had no idea that they continued as a band without Roger Waters. Not Roger Waters. God, Paul Rogers.
Paul Rogers, yeah.
Fuck.
But I knew they did, but I haven't paid much attention. Well, I'll get to them when I get to the A to Z class.
In about a year and a half.
Yeah. So the thing I wanted to mention before was I was playing games with Pat the other day, and he's like, I was thinking about it the other day, and I've been watching The Simpsons lately, and the episode, the casino episode. Remember that episode where Mr. Burns makes the casino, and he's watching everybody, and he becomes Howard Hughes.
Yes.
He's like, by the time you get to Alice Cooper, you're gonna look like that. And I was like, you are absolutely right.
But you already threw Alice Cooper. Oh, you put Alice Cooper as a C?
Yeah.
Okay.
Technically, if I wanted to do things, proper, I would have done his band material, the band Alice Cooper under A, and then put his solo material under C.
What's the difference?
Technically, he went solo as of Welcome to My Nightmare.
Ugh.
Because prior to that, they were known as a band named Alice Cooper, fronted by Alice Cooper.
Oh.
Yeah.
If you want to get technical.
If you want to get technical, which I'm not. I don't give a fuck.
Clearly.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Yeah.
I think I would have went because I was so because of that whole thing. I didn't I realized that they were a band. I would have just associated it as a band, Alice Cooper, and not necessarily like a name, but like a character. That's the way I would have done it.
Yeah. The only artist that I actually split for like that is Blaze Bailey, because he had a band first named Blaze, and then went under the name Blaze Bailey.
Yeah.
That's the only time I split it up.
Yeah. Either way, it's still in the B's, so you're good there.
Yeah. Same thing with Bon Jovi. I have Bon Jovi, and then I have the record, the Blaze of Glory soundtrack under the name John Bon Jovi,
Gotcha.
which comes separate. So.
Gotcha. I don't know. Put it back, you fucker. There you go. All right, we ready for some general news?
Yes.
All right, so the Pretty Reckless has inked a U.S. deal with Fearless Records. The band, which is signed to Century Media Records for territories outside the U.S., will release its fourth album, Death by Rock and Roll, later in the year. The Cult have inked a deal with Black Hill Records. There is no information about a new recording from them.
I'm sure it's coming. They tend to sneak around a lot.
Yeah, they do. And when they do release something, it tends to be very good.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like they've always hit the mark.
Yeah.
At the very least, they've been they're a band that's decent at worst.
Oh yeah. And the singer's voice is just so fucking good.
Yeah.
All right. Gibson, the iconic American-made leading instrument brand, has announced the new 4-part live interview series, Ask Eddie Kramer, presented by Gibson. This will premiere on It premiered actually on May 7th at 6 p.m. Central Time on Gibson's Facebook Live. Every Thursday in May, the live series will feature legendary producer and engineer Eddie Kramer, who is renowned for his collaborations with the Beatles, David Bowie, Eric Clapton, Jimi Hendrix, The Kinks, Kiss, Led Zeppelin, The Rolling Stones, John Mellencamp, Carlos Santana, and many, many more. Ask Eddie Kramer will focus on special topics and highlight throughout Eddie's storied recording career, including Jimi Hendrix, Led Zeppelin, Woodstock, and The Rolling Stones.
That sounds pretty awesome.
Right?
I mean, obviously I missed some of it already.
There really should be some more documentary stuff about the recording of, like, classic albums.
The ones that I've seen, I like a lot.
Yeah, I mean, one of my all-time favorite rock movies or documentaries is A Year and a Half of Life of Metallica.
Yeah.
Like, by far.
One of the ones I liked, I don't know, I forgot who made the series, but it's basically, I have them over there, but they're like making of certain albums.
Oh, the classic album series?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I have one for Number of the Beast, I have one for Night at the Opera by Queen, and I have one for Goodbye Yellow Brick Road.
Wow.
Yeah.
I want to see that one.
Yeah, so like those, I haven't watched the Goodbye Yellow Brick Road one, but I've watched the one on Night at the Opera, and obviously the one on Iron Maiden. But the one on the Night at the Opera was most interesting because of the fact that it's Queen, and because of the fact that this was still at the time before they were using synthesizers. They were talking about how they made all the different sounds and stuff.
Yes.
And it's very fascinating, and obviously, you know, Queen is, you know, they were, you know, very. They were. I can't think of the term, but they were trying to push the boundaries at the time of what they could do in the studio. So, and yeah, it's just fascinating stuff.
And that's all the stuff that's happened. Like those documentaries recorded after it, so they're going back to revisit classic albums.
Yeah.
I'm thinking more along the lines of like documentaries while recording.
Yeah.
The album in the moment. That's why I think like, you know, A Year and a Half in Life of Metallica is the best, because they're recording what became their biggest album ever.
Yeah.
At the time.
Yeah, I think I have the VHS I have of Megadeth is The Making of Euthanasia.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
I think one of the ones I liked the most was, I think it was Sacrament by Lamb of God came with a DVD of them recording the record, and that was really fun to watch. I think even God Forbid had one too. I think for Constitution of Treason. Very. Like, I just like to see them recording things in the moment. Not like talking about it after the fact, but like in the moment. Like, I think one of my favorite bits from the Lamb of God one was that their producer, whose name Machine, was very adamant about getting a very breathless sound out of Randy Blythe.
He made him do sprints around.
Yeah, he made him like run around the block or something like that. And then as soon as he came back all out of breath, he just shoved the microphone in his face and told him to fucking sing. And it was badass.
Yeah.
It was fucking crazy to watch. Because Randy Blythe's trying to catch his breath. He's fucking dying. This guy's shoving the microphone in his face. It's just crazy to watch.
Yeah.
It's fucking great.
That's also why I love all the Arion releases, because they always come to making
Yes, that's always a great one, too.
Yeah.
That's always good.
But, like, every single album comes with one of those, and it's like, it's just great to watch, especially because of the fact that he has all these different voices come on.
Yeah, and it's always like, great to watch each individual singer, like, perform differently.
Exactly.
I fucking love it. Yeah,
it's
you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, Fozzy singer Chris Jericho has made the list. Has joined forces with Trickster bassist PJ Farley, guitarist Joe McGinnis, and drummer Kent Slucher to form a Kiss cover band called Quarantine, spelled with a K. The band's debut single and video for the song No No No, which originally appeared on Kiss's 1987 album Crazy Nights, was released on May 15th on all digital streaming platforms.
Interesting,
right?
Yeah.
I think their aim here in this particular cover band is for the really obscure tracks.
Yeah, I would say so. Because Kiss does have a lot of good stuff that's beyond the classic material that you know I'm sure even the diehards can often forget.
Right.
So
that's fun.
Yeah.
That just reminds me I should add Fozzy to my catching up playlist.
Yeah.
Rainbow singer Ronnie Romero has rejoined Lords of Black. The band is putting the finishing touches on its next album, Alchemy of Souls Part 1, due later in the year via Frontiers Music. Romero announced his departure from the Spanish melodic progressive metal act in January of 2019. It was subsequently replaced by Diego Valdez, and there's no word on why Valdez left.
Lords of Black is good, though. But speaking of Rainbow, I had to post a meme of Dio today because I posted the meme for yesterday, and then I was like, oh shit, today's the anniversary of Dio's death.
Yeah, 10 years.
So,
10 fucking years. Holy shit.
Yep.
God damn it.
We still need more Dio material. I need like a box set of just like there's got to be stuff in the closet from everything he's ever done.
Yeah.
So.
All right, this next bit is the most Swedish thing that could possibly happen.
Mm-hmm.
So Opeth frontman Mikael Åkerfeldt will score the upcoming Netflix series Clark. The Jonas Åkerlund, the 6-episode drama series about the Swedish criminal Clark Olofsson will be directed by Jonas Åkerlund, whose visually driven signature style often pushes the boundaries of the status quo. By the way, this is all copy and paste.
Okay.
Production company is Scandinavian Content Group. Olafsson will be portrayed, the criminal Olafsson will be portrayed by Bill Skarsgård, who is best known for his terrorizing and iconic portrayal of Pennywise in the Stephen King saga It. Later this year, he stars in the Netflix film The Devil All the Time and in the Sundance hit 9 Days for Sony Pictures Classic. Blah, 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 blah. Alright, so this is what this story is based on. Based on the truth and lies of Olafsson's biography, the Swedish language series will feature Clark's early years until present day. The notorious gangster started his criminal career in the 1960s and became one of the most controversial personalities in contemporary Swedish history. Convicted of several counts of drug trafficking, attempted murder, assault, theft, and dozens of bank robberies, he has spent more than half his life behind bars and has left behind a trail of trauma, heartbreak, disappointment, and general devastation. In 1970s, Clark gave rise to the idea of the Stockholm Syndrome during a failed bank robbery in Stockholm, and has ever since kept his position as a celebrity criminal, fooling all of Sweden to fall in love with him, just like he desired. So the reason this is the most Swedish thing ever is because, number one, Mikael Åkerfeldt's scoring the thing. Mm-hmm. He's doing the music. It's about a Swedish criminal. Bill Skarsgård is Swedish. And, of course, Jonas Åkerlund is the former drummer of Bathory, a Swedish extreme metal band. Jonas Åkerlund is also the director of Lords of Chaos, the movie. Mm-hmm. He's directed a bunch of music videos for the likes of Madonna, Ramstein, to just to name a few. Mm-hmm. And... yeah, he's all over the place. So this is just the most Swedish thing ever.
Yeah. Sounds interesting, though.
Yeah, I'm totally in for it. I'm also interested in hearing it because it's a Swedish language show. Mm. So it's going to be in Swedish. Mm. So that's going to be really interesting, I think.
Interesting.
All right, last but not least here, Corey Taylor will be part of the In Search of Tomorrow documentary, currently being funded on Kickstarter. Billed as the, quote, the most comprehensive retrospective of the 80s sci-fi movie genre ever made, it will offer viewers a chance to immerse yourself in the world and mythos of 80s science fiction.
Just, it's about science fiction movies?
Yeah.
Interesting.
So he's just going to be a fanboy on it, pretty much.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, I was just like, is there like a particular direction they're going to take with it?
It's just probably when they do these kind of documentaries, is like how these movies have influenced people's lives and stuff like that. So he's probably just gonna be like a fanboy.
Okay, cool.
Which is super cool.
Yeah. Sounds
I think one of my favorite '80s sci-fi movies ever was Wargames. Remember that one?
That was the what's the kid's name?
Matthew Broderick.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, before Ferris Bueller, I think.
Yeah.
I love that fucking movie.
And it's always like, doesn't he like trick the army or like some sort of military branch?
Yeah, he hacks into a game called Wargames, and he starts it up, and it turns out to be a real life simulation of a nuclear war. And he accidentally begins to start like a nuclear war.
Yeah. And
the program can launch like fucking nuclear missiles and stuff like that. And then the ending is just a game of tic-tac-toe.
Yeah.
There is no winner kind of thing. It was really good.
Yeah, I remember bits of the movie, but I don't think I ever watched it in full.
Yeah, it was very good. It was very good. So 80s, but still really fucking good. One of my favorites. Okay. All right, ready to continue?
Yes.
Not spreading the disease.
Not spreading the disease.
Not spreading the disease. All right, Journey has canceled its previously announced 2020 North American tour due to the coronavirus. The 60-day trek with the Pretenders was supposed to kick off May 15th in Ridgefield, Washington. The organizers of the annual Bloodstock Open Air Festival has announced the cancellation of this year's event. The 2020 edition of the festival was scheduled to take place August 6th through 9th at Catton Park in Derbyshire, with headline performances from Judas Priest, Behemoth, and Devin Townsend. Damn, I would have seen that show just for that. Yeah. Hammerfall had been forced to cancel their previously announced summer and fall 2020 North American tour due to the coronavirus. The trek, with support from Beast in Black and Edge of Paradise, was scheduled to launch September 14th in West Palm Beach, Florida, and conclude on October 19th in Maryland. Iron Maiden has scrapped all of its previously announced 2020 shows due to the coronavirus.
That means they should just go into the studio and record.
For fucking reals.
I was thinking about it, and I was like, man, you know, we had Dance to Death in 2003, then we had Matter, Life, and Death 2006, Final Frontier 2010, and then Book of Souls 2015. I was like, timeline's getting longer, guys.
Yeah.
You gotta stop that shit.
All right. Ramstein have canceled their 2020 European Stadium Tour. The trek was due to kick off on May in Klagenfurt, Austria, and conclude on August 4th in Denmark. So it's not looking good for you.
Shut up.
In September. I'm just saying.
Shut up.
I'm just saying. We got information from we were supposed to see Alanis Morissette next month, and they pushed the date back exactly 1 year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So instead of June 12th, 2020, it's June 12th, 2021.
And then it's probably on a Saturday.
It is on a Saturday.
Oh, it is?
Yes.
Oh,
and
wow.
I'm fucking pumped, so I don't have to take a day off, because I'm totally all about seeing Alanis Morissette, damn it. I'm fucking pumped. All right. Yeah. Amorphis' previously announced summer-fall North American tour with Entombed AD and Nervosa have been canceled due to the coronavirus. The 38-date trek, which was to celebrate the band's legendary 1994 release Tales from the Thousand Lakes, was scheduled to launch on September 11th with 3 shows at the Kingsland in Brooklyn before making stops in Worcester, West Hollywood, and Atlanta, and concluding in Hartford at the Webster Theater on October 26th. Guns N' Roses have been forced to cancel their previously announced spring and summer tour, European tour. The trek was scheduled to kick off on May 20th in Lisbon, Portugal, and hit approximately a dozen European cities before concluding on June 27th in Dublin. Mayhem Festival has postponed its return until 2021 on last Sunday. The festival's official Instagram was updated with the following message. As we're sure you've guessed, due to the pandemic, we have to sit this summer out, but 2021, we plan on being back in full swing at 25% capacity. Anyway, this year's Reading and Leeds festivals have been canceled due to coronavirus. Rage Against the Machine was among the artists scheduled to headline the 2020 editions of Reading and Leeds, which take place annually on the August bank holiday weekend and attract around 100,000 music fans each year. Other festivals in the United Kingdom, such as Glastonbury, Bloodstock, Open Air, and Download, have also been called off. Kiss Cruise 10, which was scheduled to take place August 30th to November 4th, 2020, aboard Norwegian Pearl, has been officially postponed to October 2021.
That's if any cruise line is running by then.
For fucking real. And last but not least, Slipknot has canceled all of its previously announced summer 2020 tour dates, including the Knotfest Roadshow, Knotfest UK, Knotfest at Sea, due to the coronavirus pandemic.
I would like to add a little bit of news to this section right here. I woke up this morning to an email saying that my Shred Shack mask is ready for shipping.
Oh, mine comes at the beginning of June, too.
Very nice.
Yes.
Very nice.
Yes.
I assume that you're the other person who ordered one. Cause it
yes,
says,
I ordered 2. I ordered 2.
Very nice.
No, because I'm not about to go make one. I'm not that crafty.
Yeah.
And I'm not. The ones that they give me at work are just shitty.
Yeah.
You know, the typical medical ones.
Yeah.
And they just bother me. And I have to I can reuse them for so much, but then once they get dirty, they're fucking you have to throw them away.
Yeah.
So I'd much rather have a reusable one.
Yeah.
With our logo on it.
Yeah. So that's gonna be cool. Comes probably in less than a week or so.
Just in time for the second wave.
Yep. Just in time for the second wave.
Yeah, because here in Texas, we've opened things up, and I don't know if you've seen any numbers, but they're going up again.
Well,
every fucking day.
Well, yesterday was apparently the highest rate of contracted cases since everything started, and that's after the reopen.
Yeah,
so.
And they're opening gyms up again on Monday. 25% capacity, so people are gonna be lined up to go to fucking Planet Fitness. You know, the dumbbell section. You can't socially distance in these places. Yeah, it's stupid.
And the amount of sweat.
Oh, there's everything. Everything about a gym is disgusting.
Yeah,
everything.
Oh yeah.
Even the cleanest gym is disgusting.
Yeah.
Ugh, it's fucking stupid.
Yeah, you gotta not be a germaphobe to go to a gym. So
It's fucking terrible.
But so what can you do? Oh wait, you can stay the fuck home.
Wear a goddamn mask and wash your hands.
Yeah, and go to Academy Sports, go to Dick's Sporting Goods, and buy some dumbbells.
That's the thing, though. Everybody has. There's nothing left. There's virtually nothing left.
Well, cheers to that then.
And then manufacturing companies are closed down because I've been trying to look for something I want to purchase, and the company that I want to purchase it from, their manufacturing facility is closed down.
Yeah,
and they're also in New York, so they're hit their worst hit. So
yeah, I'm actually surprised that. In the midst of all this, like Zazzle starts to sell the masks. I was like, I figured that those would be kind of hard to get going at this point.
Well, I mean, they're probably they probably get the mask themselves because Zazzle they don't manufacture anything, right? So they get stuff. They put the logos of your quest on there.
I guess so, yeah.
So they probably have someone they deal with for like T-shirts and cloth materials and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's just. I know that a lot of products are right now unavailable on the site, so that's why we haven't really been pushing it much. But as soon as I saw the masks, I was like, "Well, let's do this one thing."
All right, are you ready for some more?
Yes.
He's the one they call Dr. Feel not so good.
Mm-hmm.
Ryan Shook, a vocalist for Julian K and Edema, has announced that he's voluntarily entered a rehabilitation facility for depression and alcohol abuse. Mm-hmm. This next one is just funny. Queen, their guitarist Brian May, says that he, quote, can't sleep or walk after ripping his gluteus maximus muscle during a session of, quote, over-enthusiastic gardening. The 72-year-old guitarist revealed his latest health setback in an Instagram post, explaining that he had been overstretched and harassed by too many demands before injuring himself.
Just imagining him like in the backyard with a hoe, just trying to go after bugs,
just smashing hoes. I think the first thing that came to my mind was a line from Ratatouille, who's like, "One can become too familiar with vegetables, you know." It's like, wow, Brian, what are you doing back there, buddy? Of course, like all the, he ripped his gluteus maximus like that. Those aren't the kind of shredded glutes I'm going for, buddy. Like puns and jokes abound here.
Oh yeah. we've been watching. We've been rewatching Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Oh God!
And I don't know if you I don't remember when you came into it because
I think I came in the middle of the first season.
Okay, because there's an episode where Boyle gets shot in the ass.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And at the end of the episode, it's just Jake making all these jokes about butts. That's what it sounds like.
Right. Oh my God. I ripped up my buttocks.
Man, obviously I hope he gets well, but I mean, dude, like, what are you doing? Like, this isn't like Dio cutting off his thumb in the middle of gardening, but I mean, like, this isn't X-Pac shredding his anus while doing the Bronco Buster. This is like. You're gardening. What did you do?
What I want to know what over-enthusiastic gardening means. That's the question.
I know.
The fuck does that mean?
I know. That just sounds really frightening.
Right? All right, last but not least here, Ian Anderson, vocalist and flautist of Jethro Tull, has revealed that he's suffering from an incurable lung disease called COPD, which is chronic obstructive pulmonary disease.
COPD?
COPD.
Yeah.
The Jethro Tull singer discussed his condition on an episode of Dan Rather's The Big Interview, which aired this past Wednesday on Access TV.
That's probably going to limit a lot of what he can do in the future.
That's the thing that he said something along the lines in the interview along the lines of my days are numbered, but a lot of people took that to say that his days on this earth are numbered. But he said, no. My days as a singer are numbered. I'm fine. Like, he has apparently there are episodes with this disease where he can get an infection. So he hasn't had one for like over 15 months. Like, but it has limited and stuff that he can do on stage, vocally and stuff like that.
I was also worried about the whole flute part because.
Well, yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's a lot of short, heavy breaths.
Yeah,
you know, especially the way he plays. He's a fucking machine.
Oh yeah.
All right, that's it for he's the one that called Dr. Feel Not So Good. Are you ready for I'm Getting Better?
Okay.
Think I'll go for a walk.
Not you, Brian May.
All right, Nickelback drummer Daniel Adair is recovering from a recent surgery for radial tunnel syndrome. I guess that's almost like carpal tunnel, radial tunnel.
I would assume so.
He has played with Nickelback for 15 years. He revealed the condition in which the radial nerve is pinched when passing through a tunnel near the elbow in a social media post. He talked about his condition on a social media post. He said there was something in his forearm specifically that was causing significant amount of pain.
That sucks when you're a drummer too,
right?
Yeah.
But that's it for people getting better. We have nothing for breaking the law. People are apparently behaving themselves for a little bit.
Well, metal people, but not other people. Have you seen all this shit about like people getting like attacked for like the mask thing?
Oh God, my fucking God! It's so stupid.
Yeah, like I saw a video of somebody getting attacked in a Target. Like an employee asked somebody to, like, hey, you have to wear a mask, and they get the shit kicked out of them.
Yeah, it's so fucking stupid. So dumb. All right, are you ready for some Metallica breaking shit?
Yeah.
All right, well, this one I just put Metallica news in this section now. I think we talked about that, and this one could have gone to the good that men and women do, but it's Metallica, so we threw it in the Metallica section.
Yeah.
In the wake of the coronavirus pandemic, which is sweeping the globe, Metallica has decided to host the All Within My Hands Month of Giving during the month of May. The band announced the initiative in a video message from drummer Lars Ulrich, which was posted on YouTube. He says, inspired by today's hashtag Giving Tuesday Now, a new global date of giving in response to the global need caused by COVID-19, we're going to spotlight 4 organizations we're supporting throughout this crisis. Each week this month, we will share with you what these organizations do and show you how you can chip in to help. We'll be continuing contributing proceeds from special weekly featured merchandise in the Metallica store and continuing to donate funds raised during the hashtag Metallica Mondays streaming concerts. According to Rolling Stone, among the charities that Metallica will support are Feeding America, which partners with food banks across the United States, Crew Nation, which is Live Nation's initiative to provide relief to touring and venue crews, the United States Bartenders Guild Foundation, which benefits bar workers and people in the service industries, and Direct Relief, which aims to support medical professionals and first responders across the United States.
So there's Metallica, obviously doing more than
a lot of people.
Looking at you, rich people.
Yeah. I think my favorite thing is people blasting like those big mega churches, and I love the ones that like the miracle cure people, touch the hand of God. Why are they not on the front lines curing people?
Yeah. Yeah.
I fucking love that shit.
There's that one guy that's blowing the disease away or some bullshit like that. I'm like, okay, you can. Okay.
All right, are you ready for your favorite section?
Is it feuding?
Feuding.
No, is it feuding?
It's feuding.
No, it's feuding, right?
All right. Well, anyway, apparently it's getting kind of nasty in the garden of sound.
You mean? Well, I mean, Brian May is
in the garden of sound.
I don't.
Sound garden.
Oh.
Anyway,
I'm
not going to get into the details, but apparently there is a very big dispute between the remaining members of Soundgarden and Vicky Cornell, Chris Cornell's widow, about misappropriation of funds from a tribute concert to Chris Cornell, and also, of course, the recordings that we have talked about in the past, whether they can release it as a Soundgarden record or whatever. So it's just getting nasty all around.
Yeah.
So I think there's lawsuits, there's counter lawsuits. It's just getting stupid.
Yeah.
So I'm sure once there's a resolution and there's something I can actually condense down to less than like 3 fucking pages, we can report on that.
but it just sounds like things are just kind of...
Yeah, it's getting silly.
Right now, it's just mudslinging.
Yeah, it really is. It really is.
Yeah, okay.
All right. So next up here, we got the makers of Ghost. They handcrafted British ultra-premium vodka claims to have recently received a threatening legal letter from the representatives of the Swedish band Ghost over the sale of their product. Now...
Thank you, Lindsay.
It came up later. That was just like the initial bit of news. Then, like a day or two later, another bit, a follow up, an update, if you will. An attorney for Ghost leader Tobias Forge has responded to reports that the makers of a handcrafted ultra premium British vodka called Ghost are being sued by the Swedish occult rock band over the use of the name Ghost, the band. The band Ghost has also marketed a gin using the group's name, which could conceivably have caused marketplace confusion. The vodka company, which launched in June 2015, claims that Forge and his representatives have known about their products since 2016. So apparently, Ghost issue is not the name Ghost being used; it's trademark, because Ghost, the band, has a gin, and then there's Ghost, the vodka. So they're claiming confusion of product.
Gotcha.
So that's what they're doing. I mean, how can you actually like copyright the name Ghost? It's simply just Ghost.
Yeah.
You know.
But speaking of Ghost, there were two shirts recently that came out on. I forgot which site did it, but it's one of those ones that combines two things of pop culture.
Yes, love that shit.
So one of them was Ghost, like the Ghost logo, and it was the Boo Ghosts from Mario Brothers.
Nice.
And
nice.
And the other one was the logo changed, but in the style of the Ghost logo, but it was for Ganon.
Nice.
And it was like the pig Ganon, like the one that you see kind of at the end of like as the ominous figure in Zelda 2 when you die.
Yeah,
like that.
That's badass.
Yeah, I was like, I want one of those shirts so badly. They're
now
so
what
badass.
I'm thinking is, I want a shirt of Scooby Doo in the Papa Amorphis makeup, and it's called Gorsh. I think that would be great. You know,
the other shirt, not related to this. The other shirt that they had was it was a kind of an Uncle Sam thing, but it was Freddie Mercury. It says, "I want you to break free."
Yes, fuck yes. God damn it, that should be for Independence Day. God damn it, I want it now. I want it all.
I knew that was coming. I fucking knew that was coming.
Don't stop me now.
I will just toss this at you. Go to hell.
Oh, come on. Just wait. 10 word reviews. You're going to fucking hate me.
Yeah.
Great. I can't wait.
Record that, so.
Alright. So we have nothing for Alcoholica today.
Okay.
Ready for some merchandising?
Merchandising.
Alright. So Iron Maiden have teamed up with the Brazilian brand WA Sport for 3 soccer shirt designs based around the covers of the Maiden albums Peace of Mind, Power Slave, and Fear of the Dark. Under the agreement, which only covers the Latin market, WA Sport will also produce football shorts, basketball jerseys, and shorts, cycling jerseys, UV protected jerseys, tracksuits, socks, caps, bags, and women's fitness leggings and tops.
Yeah, that sounds cool.
Right?
Yeah.
The jerseys look badass too. They look kind of like the Iron Maiden soccer jersey that you had that Steve Harris was wearing in Rock in Rio.
Yeah. I still have that jersey too.
It's badass. I like that one.
Yeah.
All right. Last one, at least, here for some merchandising. Jeff Tate is selling a Spreading the Disease bandana during the COVID-19 pandemic. Named after the song on Queensryche's classic 1988 album Operation Mindcrime, the 2 different bandana designs can be purchased for $17 a piece from his official web store. So, of course, there's the Spreading the Disease bandana, and then there's the same exact bandana with a big circle with the X across it, so not spreading the disease.
Very nice.
So we should get that one.
Yeah.
All right, but that's it for merchandising. Are you ready for some recording news?
Yes.
So Neil Morse, Mike I Can Play That Portnoy, and Randy George have announced their return to the cover-to-cover series of albums with cover-to-cover, but the E's are replaced with 3's. So these are like their third cover album.
Yeah.
The brand new third installment featuring their classic renditions of tracks by the likes of King Crimson, Jethro Tull, Jerry Rafferty, David Bowie, and more, including their cover of No Opportunity Necessary, No Experience Needed, featuring vocals from Yes singer John Davison. The album will be released on July 24th as CD, gatefold to LP and CD, and as a digital album. Now, the track listing for cover to cover. No Opportunity Necessary, No Experience Required by Yes. Hymn 43 by Jethro Tull, which is one of my favorite songs.
Oh, yeah.
Life on Mars by David Bowie. Baker Street by Jerry Rafferty. I Don't Come Easy by Ringo Starr. Baby Blue by Badfinger. One More Red Nightmare by King Crimson. Black Coffee in Bed by Squeeze. Tempted by Squeeze. Running Down a Dream by Tom Petty. And Let Love Rule by Lenny Kravitz.
That's a random one out of the blue.
Right?
Yeah.
But it's probably going to be fucking great.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's probably going to be really fucking good.
Yeah.
You know what's one of my new favorite things to hear and see every once in a while is there's a super group put together by someone called At the Movies.
Mm-hmm.
And it's literally just them recording like classic movie tracks. So the first one that they released was There's No Easy Way Out by the Rocky IV soundtrack.
Mm-hmm.
And it's fucking great. Mm-hmm. Then they did St. Elmo's Fire. And most recently they did Time of Your Life from Dirty Dancing. And it's the singer, the main male singer is Speed from fucking Soilwork. Yeah. And it's so fucking good. It's so good. So, yeah. That's definitely worth it. I hope they record a whole fucking album. And I will buy the shit out of that.
Yeah.
Or, Spotify it, whatever. Avatar have set Hunter Gatherer as the title of their new album, due on August 7th via E1. Encepharum will release their new album, Thalassic, on July 10th via Metal Blade Records. Onslaught will release their new album, Generation Antichrist, on August 7th via AFM Records, which is the long-awaited follow-up to 2013's Six. And it was mixed by Daniel Bergstrand, who's worked with Behemoth, In Flames, and Meshuggah at Dugout Studios in Sweden. Generation Antichrist is the first Onslaught album to feature new vocalist David Garnett, who recently replaced longtime singer Cy Keeler. System of a Down frontman Serge Tankin has revealed to Spin in a new interview that he'll be putting out a solo EP of rock songs later this year. He stated about the effort, quote, "Originally, I had these songs in mind for a System record if we were to end up doing a System record. But as we could not really see eye to eye on how to go forward with that, I decided to finish them off myself and release them as an EP."
So if you wanted to know where a new System record lays, there you go.
Yeah,
So.
there it is. I wonder if he's doing this as like a shot in the dick to his other bands. Like, this is what you could have had.
I mean, he's been fairly prolific.
I was gonna say, I think like his solo stuff's actually really good too. So like,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
If he lends his vocals to anything, it's fine.
Yeah.
Whatever. All right, Misery Signals will make its long-awaited return in 2020 with the independent, self-funded release of its fourth album, Ultraviolet, on August 7th. The upcoming record marks their first full-length release in 7 years, and first with founding vocalist Jesse Zaraska since their 2004 debut of Malice and the Magnum Heart. Behemoth will release a new EP, A Forest, on May 29th via Metal Blade Records. The EP's title track is a cover of the Cure classic, and it features a guest appearance by Shining frontman Nicholas Carforth. The A Forest EP also includes a live version of the title track, as well as two previously unreleased Behemoth songs recorded during the I Loved You at Your Darkest album sessions. So that's going to be cool.
Right on.
Fate's Warnings.
Warning.
Ray Adler. Well, it's
Oh, yeah.
belonging. Ray Alder has completed recording vocals for the band's 13th studio album. The follow-up to 2016's Theories of Flight is tentatively due before the end of the year via Metal Blade Records.
Woot.
Last but not least here, Relapse Records is continuing its Death non-analog on-stage series with the fourth installment, Showcase Theater, California, July 14th, 1995. This particular show captures the band live during the Symbolic tour at the Showcase Theater in Corona, California.
Corona. It's a conspiracy.
Yes, ironically, it's Corona, California.
Conspiracy.
All right. You ready for next section?
Which is our next section?
Rewind, replay, rebound, remaster.
Oh, yeah, remaster.
Yeah. All right, and what I wrote down here is Gwar is releasing some shit. Read direct from article.
Okay. Okay. That sounds good.
It's better than copying and pasting. It's better than copying. All right, so human scum. Times are tough. You've probably missed rent and emptied your bank accounts on toilet paper, frozen pizzas, and subscriptions to porn sites. Now that you are unemployed and destitute, your lords and masters Gwar have created something new to tempt you into wasting your meager stimulus check. 2020 marks the 30th anniversary of seminal Gwar album Scumdogs of the Universe. 30 fucking years, who would have thought? In celebration of this monumentous occasion, Gwar is pleased to announce a special 30th anniversary Scumdogs of the Universe box set. The limited edition release of Scumdogs of the Universe has been completely remixed, remastered, and perfected by Ronan Chris Murphy. Hear Gwar's classic breakout album the way the Scumdogs intended the listener to hear it. The 30th anniversary Scumdogs of the Universe box set includes never before released versions of songs you love with lots of goodies and collectibles thrown in. This collection includes remixed and remastered album on 2 180-gram white and red opaque vinyl discs, cassettes
Yeah, cassettes.
of demos and rarities, 48-page book of classic photos, gig posters, and more, a Gwar illustrated vinyl slip mat, giant 3-foot by 4-foot subway poster of the album cover image, collectible reproduction all access pass, 8x10 promo photo, enclosed in a custom display box, MP3, WAV, and FLAC download of the remastered audio sticker pack, and a death certificate.
Yeah, they really know how to make a good package.
Yeah, that sounds crazy. Sounds absolutely crazy.
Yeah, that's a good package.
Yeah, and just look at this. Look at all this shit.
Let me put my glasses on. Oh wow.
Yeah, look at this box. It's crazy.
That's pretty badass.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like the cassette portion of it.
Yeah, of course you do.
I think I have the actual album, the original album, on cassette.
That's fucking great. That's fucking great. But yeah, so that's what's going on with those guys in Gwar.
Yeah.
Remix.
I like their way of kind of approaching everything that's going on, and it's like spend your meager stimulus check on our shit.
Like it's a advertisement and also social commentary.
Yeah.
just you know what that's I think what they've always been about.
Yeah.
You know,
Pretty
like
much.
a very tongue-in-cheek social commentary.
Yeah.
It just makes you wonder what odorous wrongers would think of everything going on right now.
Yeah. Speaking of that, I was thinking the other day, I was like, man, really wish George Carlin was alive.
Oh my god. Yeah, that'd be a little bit.
Yeah. Anyway, go on.
All right. We ready for some of the good that men and women do?
Yes.
All right. So California glam metal jocksters. I love that fucking term. Steel Panther have partnered with Los Angeles-based animal rescue Heavenly Pets to set up the Steel Panther all-day kitty cam.
Yay.
The cam will broadcast kittens from the shelter that are available for adoption, as well as accept donations to help the rescue with costs attained from the increase in abandoned pets due to the coronavirus pandemic. This isn't the first time Steel Panther has supported animal rescues. On its tour last year, the band invited local animal rescues in each market to come out and collect donations at their shows as part of their Gods of Pussy animal rescue activation. The Kitty Cam is an extension of that idea, as all immediate touring plans have been placed on hold due to the coronavirus outbreak. The streams of the camera will be hosted on the band's website and is available below. There's again copy and paste. So,
As much as I like that, and animal rescue and everything like that, don't forget about the older animals. I say this as I'm fostering.
As you're fostering an elderly pet.
Yeah, as I'm fostering an 8-year-old cat who just loves me. And I'm like, I've had her for almost 6 months. And
Yeah, you keep saying fostering.
Yeah, it's like I'm slowly approaching that point.
You keep saying that.
I keep trying to convince Lindsay.
What Dan really means is that he has a third cat.
And I might as well because she sleeps with me and everything. So
yeah, I love my cat. So
yeah,
she's the best.
yeah.
All right. Pantera's recently released limited edition social distancing T-shirt has raised approximately $100,000
Damn.
for the Music Cares COVID-19 Relief Fund. 40% of the net proceeds generated from the purchase of the shirt, which takes the classic image from Pantera's vocal display of Power album and adds personal protective equipment to the artwork, as well as the walk song lyrics, "Be yourself, by yourself, stay away from me," are being donated to the fund, which was started with two $1 million donations from the charitable foundation Music Cares itself, as well as its affiliate, the Recording Academy.
Shirt's still available?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I'm sure they are.
I'm gonna check because I might.
I mean, because that's a good one.
Yeah, I realized recently that I don't really have a Pantera shirt. Actually, I do. Never mind, I do have a Pantera shirt, but
I think
that
I have
is,
one.
and although that is kind of a, it's kind of like ultimately it's an esoteric T-shirt. It'd still be cool to have.
Yeah. Hailstorm has announced the hashtag #RoadieStrong support campaign aimed at providing essential financial assistance to road crews all over the world who make live music possible. Under the newly launched initiative, fans can purchase a Roadie Strong merchandise and make donations, with all proceeds going to Live Nation's Crew Nation, a global relief for live music crews. And last but not least here, last month, Slipknot and Stone Sour frontman Corey Taylor took part in a special guitar auction with eBay for charity to benefit direct relief and support of their COVID-19 response efforts. The auction ran through Thursday, May 7th, and attracted nearly 800 bids, raising $75,000, which was then matched by eBay for charity, bringing the total to $150,000. So good on Taylor.
Right on.
All right. That's it for the good that men and women do. Are you ready for some crowdfunding?
Yes.
All right, so a GoFundMe campaign has been launched to save the legendary Los Angeles venue, the Troubadour.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
After the coronavirus pandemic shut down live music for nearly 2 months, with no sign that music venues will reopen anytime soon, the storied 500 capacity, where artists such as Motley Crue, Guns N' Roses, Slayer, and Metallica played early in their careers, is raising money to keep the night spot viable. To date, the Troubadour Employee Relief Fund, which was started on April 2nd, has raised more than $48,000 of its $50,000 goal. At press time, as we record this, the donation has been shut down because they've surpassed their $50,000 goal by reaching $73,588. So they have shut it down. They are not accepting any more donations.
Really?
Yep.
So they, where did they stop again?
$73,588.
Okay, so they're not taking more.
They're not taking any more.
Okay. Did you see the one for St. Vitus Bar?
No. Oh yes, I think I heard about that.
Yeah,
Yes.
they way surpassed their goal. We haven't mentioned that one in the past, but like they have a Kickstarter, and they're doing the same thing, same reason, and they are like 600% past their goal. So
Yeah, I'm just reading an update from the organizer of the crowdfund of the GoFundMe here, and she wrote down, "We at the Troubadour are unbelievably touched and humbled by the outpouring of support we have received. All of your kind words and generous contributions are deeply appreciated. The Troubadour is a second home to many, and reading about the role it has played in your lives has been heartwarming. You, our community, is what makes every show special. Without you, we are just an empty room. 100% of your donations will go towards supporting the whole Troubadour staff and to the ongoing financial obligations of the venue. This includes insurance, office rent, property tax, payroll tax, and utilities. They are immensely grateful." Again, there's no end in sight for this, though, as far as live performances go. So who knows what the fuck's going to happen. All right, so that's it for crowdfunder. The other one that we talked about last time was the site thing for ventilated patients or incapacitated patients who can't speak.
yes.
For the hospitals, they have a $50,000 goal. They've only raised $5,477. So that's a little rough. that's okay. That's a tough one. All right. You ready to move on?
Yes.
Do you want anything?
No, I haven't. I've just been more. I've just been working on, getting my CDs, and I've actually kind of turned my direction to my thoughts towards picking up T-shirts of bands that I don't have T-shirts from. So I finally got like an Napalm Death T-shirt. But I'm trying to look for bands that are on the bands that I haven't seen live that I haven't had a chance to buy a T-shirt from. I'm trying to find them for a good price. So
yeah, I'm in the same. I feel the same. I finally got an Opeth T-shirt. I never had an Opeth T-shirt, and I got a fucking Opeth hoodie, which is I haven't bought myself a hoodie in forever. Yeah. And I love that fucking hoodie. It's so fucking cool. Yeah. Fucking love that hoodie. Yeah. So much.
So I've been trying to think of all the record labels that I can go through. I found a couple, but I was like, I need to be more into this band before I really get into more of their merchandise and whatnot. But
yeah, you don't want to go to a show and be accused of being a poser.
Yeah. So, but a lot of the shirts are cool. One in particular is an Obituary T-shirt, and it's just obviously it's like a death metal cover.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So I'm like, but I was like, I like Obituary, but I feel like I'm not big enough of a fan yet to really go out and buy the shirt. So.
True. I got you.
So, but yeah, I was like, I needed the Napalm Death one because I'm getting more into them. I picked up a couple of their albums because they were available. So I was like, yeah, need that.
All right, so we have nothing that we want. Are we ready for some concert news, as limited as it can be?
Yeah.
All right, so of course there's no festival news because we already talked about the cancellations of things. So let's go into some touring, and we're going to use touring very, very lightly. Yeah. It's going to be a quote-unquote thing here. Because Suicide Silence have announced a, quote, virtual world tour with unique sets, exclusive merchandise, and custom experiences in each market. Each show will feature a professionally filmed multi-camera live set along with an extensive post-performance question and answer session. Each market will have its ticket purchase geo-gated within a reasonable radius so that only those in that general area can view its particular stream. Fans will be able to participate in a live chat with each other and the band throughout the experience. All ticket purchases will have access to an exclusive merch collection that includes an official tour shirt specifically for their market, as well as a number of other items that will never be sold elsewhere. The stream performances will go on sale several weeks or months in advance, whereas fans will be able to communicate their setlist preferences and make other special requests leading up to the show. Several dates are being finalized, with Los Angeles and New York expected to kick things off sometime in June.
Yeah. We've talked about this. I mean, it kind of sucks that not everybody can see certain shows and everything like that, but that still sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably going to be the closest thing we're going to get to a tour that we're going to get for a little while. Yeah. Unfortunately. Because I think I read somewhere that Arkansas was planning on holding its first concert last week. They were going to play. They were going to do a concert. They're going to be social distance. They're going to put new regulations in place, and almost immediately it was shut down. Yeah. Even before the show even took place, probably a few days before it took place, this is just not going to happen. Yeah. And the fact of the matter is that when you think about it, if you're going to try and have a concert, and you expect people to do the social, how do you expect that to go? What are you going to put little fucking stickers that you stand here, you stand there? That's not going to fucking work. No. People are going to do what they want to fucking do. Yeah. Yeah, it's as clearly as you can see out there right now. That people are going to do what they want to fucking do. Yep. So, I mean, if you really want to eliminate some of the stupid factor, you have to cut out some of the things that make people stupid. Yeah.
Which is hard.
Yeah.
It's very, very difficult because it's like what's that phrase? That mentality of having to build a better mousetrap.
Oh yeah, something like that. Yeah.
It's like stupid people will find a way to be stupid. You
can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. This is what you have to do to stay healthy, but we can't make you do it. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. That's what it's coming down as.
All right, so last week, As I Lay Dying announced that its June 2020 Burn to Emerge U.S. tour will be rescheduled due to the pandemic. The new dates will take place in February and March of 2021, maybe, and will keep the same lineup with Whitechapel and Shadow of Intent. Tickets purchased for the canceled tour will be honored and at the rescheduled dates. There is a San Antonio date here, February 23rd at the Aztec. And Judas Priest has announced the rescheduled dates for its 50 Heavy Metal Years European tour. The trek, which was originally set to take place this spring and summer, has been postponed until 2021 due to coronavirus pandemic sweeping the globe.
Which is great, because it's going to be like, it's 51 years.
50-ish years. And I do have one for a one-off here.
Okay.
Clutch will perform a streamed concert titled Live from the Doom Saloon Volume 1 on May 27th. They will be supported remotely by Crowbar, Blacktop Mojo, and Saul. This unique online concert format has been produced in conjunction with Sound Talent Group and Live from Events, and will use cutting-edge streaming technology to close the distance between the bands and the fans for an amazing virtual concert experience. No other details were provided at the time.
Right on.
I am not subjecting us to heavy metal in the charts.
Okay.
I will,
We're
going forward, I think I will try to scroll through it before the podcast and have information based on that.
Yep.
I just did not get a chance to or remember to do it this week.
Okay. So I'm not terribly worried about that. I'm going to assume Queen's number one.
More than likely.
Okay.
More than likely.
So,
I mean, that's the only information we're going to be able to find out from the Hard Rock fucking thing anyway. So.
Yeah. So, discussion point.
Yes. Let's do it.
This is what I was thinking about yesterday, because I was listening to the Anthrax album and I started talking about the John Bush era.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so we know the big four of thrash are considered to be Anthrax, Slayer, Metallica, and Megadeth.
Yep.
Now we all know, as well, that in around the time of the 90s, they all changed sound. They all went in different directions, and they kind of like separated themselves a little bit from thrash. We know that like Slayer at least slowed down a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
They slowed their tempo down a little bit. Got a little bit darker.
They slowed their tempo down. Anthrax kind of got a little bit less. They were less thrashy, but still, pretty heavy.
Uh-huh.
And they had a different singer that wasn't as as operatic.
Yeah.
Both Metallica and Megadeth changed up their style and went a little bit more contemporary and mainstream with it.
Uh-huh.
Now, my thought was, who did it best?
Who did it best?
Yeah, and let's rate it as far as who.
So what are our parameters here as far as
make it up as you go along, pretty
okay.
much, because I don't
All
have I didn't come up with any sort of particular parameters, but in your opinion, where do you view how they did it? Look into everything as far as how they stood commercially, how they did musically, how fans responded to it, and things like that.
Well, I'll probably start off and say that I think Slayer did it the worst.
Mm-hmm.
I think they alienated their fans by trying to stay true to their sound, but also slowing things down. I think the album in particular that we're talking about is Diabolos and Musica. I think that was the one that they felt was their worst. I think it was the one
that was also a later one.
Yeah.
I
Which
figured,
one do you think? Oh,
I'm figuring for South of Heaven. South of Heaven to Seasons in the Abyss, and then maybe Divine Intervention.
Because that again, it still had the classic Slayer sound, but it didn't have the ferocity.
Yeah.
And I think that alienated some fans because if it felt like they were trying something different, but not at the same time. And their particular style of thrash did not allow for a lot of wiggle room.
Yeah.
Whereas in a band like Metallica and Megadeth had a little bit more wiggle room because they added stuff like ballads like Fade to Black and stuff like that to their sound repertoire. Again, which gave them a little bit more range.
Yeah.
Slayer really boxed themselves in
Yeah.
to thrash and a particular social commentary and a particular lyrical style that anything outside of that box was just death to them. So I think they did it the worst.
And I mean, and again, the albums are good.
Yeah, I don't have any problem with South of Heaven, or like I think my introduction to Slayer was Divine Intervention.
Yeah, but the albums are still good comparatively, and they I like them, but like you said, they did kind of box themselves in, especially in those first few albums, because like it was basically like early thrash. Especially in America, was a matter of like who can be the fucking fastest, who can be the heaviest, who can be the loudest, who can be the most like spooky scary.
Yeah, the most up in your face, the most like there's like with thrash there was the very punk attitude behind thrash.
Yeah,
but with talent and technicality and and like speed.
Yeah,
like while there's like punk was more of an attitude and social commentary, thrash just upped that. And literally put it on speed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so...
I think, like I said, I think Slayer did it the worst because they really had boxed themselves in. And, like I said, anything outside of that box was just not their realm of musical fucking prowess.
Had they previously done tracks where they did slow things down, I feel like they would have those albums in particular, South of Heaven, Seasons in the Abyss, as well received as they may be at this point with fans, I feel like they would have been more well received because you're expecting something a little bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah, but with Slayer in particular, it's like Slayer doesn't change their sound very much. They're not very
they're not dynamic at all.
Yeah, so it's like, okay, it's just a quick change, and you guys eventually went back to doing exactly what you did before in the same way. It's kind of by the numbers.
Even with the Metallica records, like when you get past Kill 'Em All, Kill 'Em All was pretty much a straight out thrash record. But when you start getting into like Ride the Lightning and Master of Puppets, there's a lot more dynamic changes. There's again more wiggle room. You had the ballads of like Fade to Black and Sanitarium. You had the middle sections of Master of Puppets, which was pure ferocity up until like minute 4. Mm-hmm. Then it calmed down and they had that nice quiet section, and then it went back. Yeah. There was up and down. There was changes in flow, but Slayer was always just straightforward. Like they could not get past that. Yeah. I think the one who did the next worst, I think, would be Megadeth, because I think they started making their changes a little too late. I'm specifically talking about Cryptic Writings. I felt when I first listened to Cryptic Writings, I thought that was Megadeth trying to make their Black Album, because there was a lot of similarities in sound, even like song structure and title and track like placement, all felt very strongly towards the Black Album. Mm-hmm. The opening track, Trust, had a very similar guitar riff to like Enter Sandman. They had a song that had a sitar intro, just like Wherever I May Roam. Everything about that felt like they were trying to play catch up.
Mm-hmm. But you also remember that they started changing their sound pretty much as of Countdown to Extinction.
Right. But the thing is, Countdown to Extinction was still very good.
Yeah.
Like again, I think Cryptic Writings, which was that the follow up, or no? It was like it was Countdown Euthanasia.
Yeah,
and then, but I think by the time Cryptic Writings came out, again they were still playing catch up to Metallica. Mm-hmm. That's what it felt like, and they were trying to record their Black Album.
Yeah,
and I think in that particular period of time, that was the worst that they could have done.
Yeah,
I mean, I love the Cryptic Writings record, but it still felt almost like a carbon copy,
As far as Megadeth goes, I mean, I like the albums that people have like a lot of hate for. I do enjoy a lot. People hate Risk, but I enjoy the album.
Uh-huh.
But it's definitely a hard pill to swallow. For sure. Mm-hmm. As with Cryptic Writings, I love Euthanasia.
Euthanasia was fucking great.
Yeah, and I love Countdown and Euthanasia and everything. But the changes that they made on those albums, in particular, at least with Megadeth and Metallica in particular, they were both kind of dynamic early on, that they could allude to potential changes in their sound. And that's why Countdown and Black Album are kind of on a similar level here, because of the fact that Countdown, Cryptic Writings, you said, is kind of their attempt at being the Black Album, whereas Countdown technically is their Black Album.
True, yes.
But we were more prepared for the changes that were to come, and they're still heavy. It's still the same kind of route as Metallica went. But with Megadeth in particular, I feel like, as of Cryptic Writings, the system has failed, which was considered to be kind of like their comeback record. I felt like it was a little bit more phoning it in.
Yeah.
The songs were still good. They were still melodic and everything, but it felt like a little bit of the passion was lost.
Yeah.
Now, I could be completely wrong, and that could have been Dave's most, enthusiastic at certain points. I have to rewatch the Euthanasia documentary, but I feel like, especially on The System Has Failed, where they said that they were they people called it the return. I was like, this entire record sounds really phoned in. I like the record, but it sounds really phoned in. Risk was exactly what it sounds like, a risk. They tried a thing, and ultimately that failed. I will say that with no uncertainty. It was
their turbo.
Yeah, it was them trying something, and that failed miserably. And I feel like the prelude to that was Cryptic Writings. But they had a good thing going as far as Countdown and Euthanasia goes.
Yeah.
So they just kind of started to drop the ball a little bit for whatever reason I don't understand. So they had it started pretty well. Like, we knew, we were on a good route, and then it's like, okay, what's happening here? Where are you going with this? So I would say that I wouldn't necessarily put Megadeth at that spot. Well, we'll revisit that. Yeah. But so you're doing Slayer, then you're doing Megadeth. Who's your number two?
Anthrax.
Okay.
And the reason for that is you kind of saw it coming with Anthrax, because of their already previous collaborations with, like, say, Public Enemy. There was definitely a sound change. Something was coming.
Yeah.
So when you got into the John Bush era, they got more of, I would say, a grungier sound.
Yeah.
I think it was them not attempting, but them really accepting the changes in the music scene, embracing it, and attacking it full forward instead of trying to fight against it.
Well, what I noticed from listening to the albums is they started off very thrashy. They kind of added a little bit more fun to it. They were always kind of the fun side of
the
thrash.
I am the man thing.
I'm the man, or doing Bring the Noise, which Bring the Noise was still thrashy as fuck. Yeah. But being open to change like that.
Yeah.
They explored that a little bit earlier on, and explored that a little bit more to an obvious extent. Metallica and Megadeth adding ballads was a change, but it was something that it wasn't. I feel like it wasn't as much of a stretch as Anthrax threw out there. They just seemed to like to throw curveballs.
Yeah, I think the ballads for Metallica and Megadeth adds to the moodiness of the thrash guy. I'm pissed off and then I'm really sad. I'm pissed off and then I'm really sad. No one associates them with just thrash metal, with having fun. And Anthrax was a fun fucking band.
Yeah.
And they are a fun fucking band. They're a bunch of They're a bunch of dudes having a good fucking time.
Yeah.
They're not moody. Well, they probably can be, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
They're out there having a fucking blast.
Yeah.
You know, they're not always trying to make social commentary like Slayer does. They're not trying to present like moods of depression and anger like fucking Metallica and Megadeth. They're just out there to have fucking fun.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's where they strived, and that's why they were able to change with such ease.
And also with them, if you listen to Persistence of Time, which was the last one they did with Belladonna, you can hear the progression of the change of sound already. Mm-hmm. They already started to stray away from the thrash side of things. Now, some songs are still thrashy, of course, and some songs continue to be thrashy thereafter, but with that album in particular, you can hear, like, there are some songs that I can hear definitely, like this is almost written for John Bush. It's almost uncanny that I can hear John Bush singing some of these tracks, you know, and then they bring him in for Sound of White Noise, which is, you know, really not much of a thrashy album whatsoever. It's hitting that, like you said, that grungier side. It's hitting. They remained consistently heavy, but they gave up the thrash side.
It kind of like. I think Anthrax was one of those bands that was able to embrace surrounding sounds. Like, you know, we talked about their grunge sound, but then when you go with them a little bit later on, and they start picking up a little bit of that groove metal sound from, like, you know, the Lamb of God and like the new wave of American heavy metal, like on their latter releases, which are very thrashy still, but also very groovy. Mm-hmm. So again, I think they're just very good at. I wouldn't say assimilating, but like just incorporating what's popular at the time, but making it their own.
Yeah.
Like not going out and making a Lamb of God record as Anthrax, but making a record that's Anthrax that can fit in with a Lamb of God record.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I think they were very successful at that.
Yeah.
Which is why I think they were still able to kick around. And even when Joey Belladonna came back, they weren't expected to go back to the original sound with Joey Belladonna. It was Joey Belladonna coming back to Anthrax with their sound now.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I think that's what made them. That's why they're the second most successful ones at changing a sound. Because Megadeth had to go back to a sound that people loved. Yeah. Slayer has to stay in a sound that people love. Joey Belladonna coming back as the classic singer had to adapt to what their band sounded like now. I think that's the difference.
I disagree with that point.
Okay.
I disagree with that because of the fact, like I said, that with Persistence of Time, you already noted the changes in their sound.
Okay.
Because of the fact that, you know, like they already started to slow things down. They already started to have that style, that kind of, as you said, grungier style. I don't want to say it was grungier, but it was still, you know, consistently heavy. They became just kind of a regular heavy metal band. And with John Bush, the albums progressively just got heavier. Like they really got rid of the thrash and they got heavier. Inside Out, as you mentioned, the song you mentioned before, that is a heavy fucking track.
Yeah.
You know, and that's where they went with a lot of with Volume 8 in particular. They went with kind of this mid-tempo or you know, mid to kind of fast tempo heavy metal.
Because now I'm thinking of Only. It was one of my favorite Anthrax tracks.
Yeah. Only, Package Rebellion, Perpetual Motion on Stomp 442. You know, even at the end of that album, they did a slower track called Bear. You know, they were doing the mix up and they were doing it well, and it was a steady progression that it didn't feel out of place every single time they released a new record. To a point where you had the super heavy Volume 8 record, and then they came out with We've Come For You All, which is kind of like where they hit the middle ground of their sound. And it's like, okay, this is where we're comfortable, this is where we're consistent, we're going to stay right here.
Yeah.
And that's where they've stayed, you know, since then. They've they've never really sat there and completely eschewed their thrash roots. They still play the songs live. They brought back their singer from their thrash era, and he's managed to be able to adapt to both, which they were already kind of prepping him for back with Persistence of Time.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of feel that Anthrax did it best.
Okay.
Because of the fact that they did it on a slow progression, but they never really strayed from any particular path. It was always just Anthrax.
Right.
So it's just I feel like they did it. They as far as getting fans ready for it. It may not have been a commercially successful thing, but as far as their legacy goes, I feel like they necessarily did it best. And it's not like they had kind of a weak singer. They had a great fucking singer,
right,
at both times. They chose the best. So I like Joey Belladonna, but I love John Bush's voice.
Yeah, I get it.
It's strong. It can carry. He's a belter basically. He can belt out in a raspier tone than Joey Belladonna. Although Joey Belladonna's voice have now kind of deepened and
I love Joey Belladonna's voice now.
Yeah,
I think it's fucking great.
Yeah,
I think he sounds stronger than ever, and I think his tone of voice now matches the Anthrax sound better now than it did back then. I think it's just everything about Anthrax right now is going great.
And I think that's why it works so well is because of the fact that his voice has changed over time.
Yeah,
and he it's probably due to aging and whatnot that he's had to change his style and everything like that. But it's something that they were already, like I said, prepping him for as far as Persistence of Time goes. So I'm perfectly cool with that, and I think ultimately that they did it best. So
I particularly think that Metallica did it best.
Okay.
And the only reason I say that is because that's what made them the biggest band out there, commercially, and everything else that went with it. Because they went from And Justice for All, like their angriest record, into the Black Album, which they even admitted while they were recording it that they needed to make things simpler. They needed to make things a little bit more crunchier, a little bit more sound-wise, a little bit better. I know that they always had a criticism on their records, even with Master Puppets, there was criticism of their sound.
Mm-hmm.
So they had to make things a little bit more polished. They had to make things a little bit simpler, a little bit more straightforward, a little bit heavier, like sounding. Although I think the only thing they did not do better was the preparation from Black Album to fucking Load. But I think the reason I think they did it better is that a lot of people now, in retrospect, almost 25 years later, look back and say, you know what? Load was actually a really good record. Like, these are the people who, like, when that came out, were always like, no, they fucking sucked, they sold out. But 25 years later, these are the same people saying, you know what? Load was a really good record. And I think that speaks a lot for Metallica's legacy, because they were able to take such a risk at such a 180 almost. And in retrospect, people would be like, you know what? That was a good decision. I think they became an even bigger band because of that. And you can say sold out, whatever. But the thing is, they wrote music that they wanted to. They took risks. They've always been a risk taker as far as that goes. Mm-hmm. And to turn around and make it actually successful, I think that speaks volumes. The thing is, of all the bands, they took the biggest risks. Because they almost completely not just changed their sound, but they changed their image. They changed just about everything. But they were able to make it work. Even the people who fucking hated it still fucking go to their shows. Yeah. They still they can say they hate these songs all they want to your face, but in the fucking shower at 9 o'clock in the morning, they're singing those fucking songs. Mm-hmm. You know this because they can't get it out of their heads. They write good fucking songs. And I think Load, what made Load good for that time is that it wasn't just the sound that you're looking for. You're looking for songs, the structure of the songs. The songs themselves were really fucking good, and they sounded great. Yeah, And the thing is, I've always been a fan of Load, always, always, always. But the thing is, again, now later on, those fans who hated it in 1996 fucking love it in 2020. They look back on it and they remember it. This nostalgia feel for it, and they realize that yes, this was a good fucking record. Just because at the time it wasn't they don't think it was a Metallica record, doesn't mean it wasn't a good fucking record.
I feel that with Metallica in particular, commercially, what they did was right. Again, with the stylistic change, the image change, and everything like that, you can't stay the same. Can't stay the same forever. As far as musically, I mean, it was definitely a huge risk. Doing load and reload, and no matter what, Metallica was going to be a polarizing band. You're saying that there's people now that sit there and look back on the album and do love it, and yes, there certainly are, but there are also people who still vehemently hate it. Yeah. And then there's always going to be a vehement hate for anything related to Metallica beyond a certain point, depending on their. Some people have sat there and said that Metallica's only ever released one good album. Yeah,
I haven't listened to anything since they released Kill 'Em All, but I think that has to do with. I don't think that has anything to do with the actual music. That just has to do with the popularity of the band. Those are those metal elitists who like anything that's more popular than like playing like 20 to 20 people in a fucking crowd that's selling out. Yeah. So there anything like even just outside of metal music, like just fandoms in general tend to ruin the thing that they're fans of. Star Wars people are horrible fucking people. Yeah. They are horrible fucking people.
I think what I would give Metallica credit for being the most commercially successful metal band ever, basically, is kind of encouraging the open-mindedness of an audience. As far as their sound goes, as far as their image goes, as far as what they do, what they say, all that kind of stuff. It comes down to encouraging the open-mindedness because of the fact that their sound has kind of changed. Since day one, their sound has slowly just changed from one album to the next. I will say that each album is fairly unique.
I would say so, yeah.
Yeah, it's got its own little quirks and whatnot, and you may love it for certain reasons, you may hate it for certain reasons. You may have a deep-seated love and think that Master of Puppets is the greatest album of all time, but you also got to sit there and say, well, there's also this. Unfortunately, there's also this. Unfortunately, you're able with them because of the fact that they were always such a dynamic band. Their change, I feel, was a little bit more expected, kind of in the same vein of Anthrax, but it just wasn't well received.
Yeah, it was also a little bit more drastic.
Yeah, and I feel like in that sense, in a sense of music, yes, they've always done what they want to do, but in the sense of music, you had the world in your hand at the Black Album, and then you went, let's try something different, and it was. I think it was a bit too much to swallow right away. Yes, in retrospect, a lot of folks love it, but it was a bit too much to swallow right away. So I think that it was for the sake of the band themselves. I think it was a little bit too much too quickly.
So, do you think that between 1991 when the Black Album came out and 1996 where Load came out, if there was an album in say 1993 or 1994 where there was something in between those two, something between the Black Album sound and something between the Load sound, that if they did something in between then to kind of bridge the gap, that progression would have been accepted a little bit easier?
Probably, yes. I feel like that would have been the case, because through and through, Load is a completely different album.
Oh, for sure.
From anything. And like I said, all their albums tend to be pretty unique, but I feel like there should have been something a little bit more preparatory for them. But again, I love the record, you know, and I've loved the record since I've had it. I love Reload for reasons. But
there's a few good tracks in that one.
Yeah,
I mean.
no, I like it. I like it from start to finish. You know, I'm a big fan of it. It's one of those albums that I grew up listening to. It came out when I was 12.
I was gonna say, well, in 1996, I mean, yeah, I think the reason I got the earlier Metallica records is it was after I got Load, because I got the $100 for getting the $100 on that one particular test. I bought all the Metallica records that there were at the time.
Shit.
I bought them all. I spent my entire $100 at Nobody Beats the Wiz on Metallica records.
I'm surprised you didn't catch your own pun. Bought them all.
Bought them all. I did. I bought them all, and you know, and the only reason, like, it's pretty much, it was from like because I already had the Black Album. It was Load and everything before the Black Album. That's what I bought.
Yeah.
You know, and ever since then, I've been a fan of that particular record because, like, I was still coming out of the grunge thing. You know, I was a really big Metallica fan. I think that they are the ones who, like, kind of really molded my musical taste. It's pretty much them and, like, Nirvana.
Yeah.
I would say molded my musical taste. So I was still coming out of the grunge phase pretty hard. I'm just getting into the early Metallica stuff in 1996.
Yeah.
You know, and Load was just that album. Like, by the time I was really getting into music, Black Album's already been out for like a year or two. You know, this is my first new Metallica record that I'm experiencing as a young kid. This is my first new Metallica record, and I jumped at the chance, and I loved it ever since. I really did. I did not really. Like, I've never been that much of an elitist to say, like, oh my God, their sound has changed, I can never listen to them again. Like, I appreciate change. I like change. I like things to progress.
Yeah.
You know, like, I know I'm not the same person I was in 1996. I can't expect the people to record the same kind of music with the same kind of passion, the same kind of, like, ferocity in 1996 to, like, from, like, 1984. And I definitely can't expect them to do it in 2020 from, like, even 1996.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think there's a lot of expectation from fans that are unrealistic. You know, and it sucks. And it really sucks because then it just sucks. I don't like it.
Yeah. So, I'm
putting Metallica as number one, Anthrax, Megadeth, and then Slayer.
Okay. I have the pretty much. I would probably swap Anthrax and Megadeth. I would put Anthrax at the top as far as who did it best. You know, but it comes down to also, like, you know, who do we have more favor for?
Oh, of course, Metallica's my favorite band all the time. So.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, I knew Metallica was going to be your number one, but obviously, you know, you're going to have an explanation for it. But as far as, you know, the rest of them, it's like a matter of, like, okay, so then we talked about who we feel did it best. Who do we enjoy the most?
Who do we enjoy the most?
Yeah. So taking the same four, who do we enjoy?
Of that most? Particular time period,
or like of as far as, like, the entire discography and maybe focusing specifically on that era, who do we enjoy the most?
Well, I probably don't. I don't really have a leg to stand on as far as like Anthrax, because I only know, like, a few of the John Bush era things.
Yeah.
So I'm not, like, the biggest fan of that. Not that I'm not the biggest fan. It's just I'm just not as familiar with it.
Yeah.
So I can't really talk about that with them. I think there were some clunkers in there with the Megadeth thing. So I'd have to, it'd be between Metallica and Slayer, because I really enjoyed the Slayer records, like South of Heaven, Season of the Abyss. Again, Divine Intervention was what got me into Slayer in the first place. Even the Diabolus Musica, which is what they considered to be, like, their new metal record, I enjoyed. You know, I enjoy those records. I
remember that being one of the first ones you ever had.
Yeah, I listened to those almost endlessly for a long time. and Metallica's my favorite band, so it had to be between Slayer and Metallica of what I actually enjoyed the most of that particular time period.
Okay. I'm gonna do number 4 is Slayer, because again, Slayer is Slayer. I mean, they do, like, I have all the albums, most of the albums, missing one. They don't deviate very much stylistically. I don't have a particular inclination toward them. So I'm gonna say that they stay at 4.
Uh-huh.
Anthrax is 3. As much as I've been enjoying listening to the Anthrax records and everything like that, I'm not as interested in them as I am the other two. I would put Megadeth at 2. Unfortunately, I do feel like there are a lot of tracks by Megadeth that are significantly better than some Metallica tracks, but
comprehensively.
Well, if we're focusing on that era, then my liking would probably change a little bit. Okay, so if we're focusing specifically on that era that we're talking about, then Slayer stays at the bottom.
Uh-huh.
Megadeth stays at 3. No, sorry.
You put Anthrax at 3, I think.
No, Megadeth would be at 3. Anthrax would be at 2 because of the enjoyment I have, and Metallica would be at 1 because I really do thoroughly enjoy Load, Reload. Like I'm a big fan of Metallica regardless, and it's like I have my gripes about every single album, sure.
Of course, yeah.
But I still find myself going back to them the most and listening to them the most.
Yeah,
I
same.
can't. I listen to a couple of select tracks from Hardwired and everything like that. I still go back and listen to Load every so often. But I can't recall the last time that I listened to Risk. Can't recall the last time I listened to Cryptic Writings.
Right.
It's not like I'm going out of my way, unfortunately, to listen to Megadeth lately. I mean, I listened to like 1 or 2 albums to get myself, a little bit more familiarized with some of their early stuff, but that's the early stuff.
Yeah.
But as far as the enjoyment goes, Slayer to Megadeth to Anthrax to Metallica.
Yeah.
So you just kind of swap the two as far as who I feel did it best, and who I liked the most. So, but yeah,
that's a good talk.
Yeah, that was my thought when I was going through the Anthrax records.
So I mean, now, but the thing is, as let's go past that particular period. Like, who do you think is doing it better now? In 2020, let's just say each band the last 2 records. Who do you think is doing it better now?
Okay, so Slayer's at 4 again because again they're so in the box that it's like I can't get particular enjoyment. I like them, but I don't go nuts for them.
Uh-huh.
So they're at 4. Can we discount Super Collider?
No, we can't. We can't. That's why my list, just because of that, is actually Slayer at number 4, Megadeth at number 3, Metallica at number 2, and Anthrax at number 1 for who's doing it better now.
Yeah.
I mean, Metallica's still going to be the biggest band ever. You can't deny that, period. But I'm talking about actual quality of recordings now.
Yeah.
And Anthrax, their last 2 records with Joey Belladonna back in that band and their new sound from the previous era that we were talking about is almost perfection for the time now.
Yeah.
Metallica's last 2 records, they have been improving. Death Magnetic into Hardwired was definitely an improvement, but still not the best.
Yeah.
Megadeth, the only thing they have going against it, because Dystopia was a great record, is fucking Super Collider, which was trash.
Yeah.
Fucking trash.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Slayer just hasn't changed, so that's why they have to stay at the bottom.
Yeah, so I would agree with that same list, just because. So Slayer, Megadeth. Well, yeah, I would agree with that. Okay, keep Metallica at 2. You said Metallica at 2, Anthrax
Metallica
at
at 2 and Anthrax at 1.
Yeah, I would go with that. I would agree with that.
again, because Metallica, I mean, they are the stalwart of the scene.
Yeah.
They are the end all be all pretty much.
Yeah.
So again, they went from load and reload, alienating fans. Then they tried to come back, Saint Anger, which was, I think everyone could agree, even people looking back on it say that's a trash record. But then Death Magnetic was a little bit better, and then Hardwire was even a little bit better than that. So, like, it feels like they're on the cusp of something great, one final swan song almost, but Anthrax is just consistently good.
Yeah.
You know? And Megadeth, they are such a bipolar band sometimes. Like, with Risk, like you talked about, there was a big Risk, and they came back up with, like, you know, The System Has Failed, United Abominations, 13, and then, bam, fucking Super Collider, and that was fucking trash.
Oh, damn it. I was saying it wrong before. The album that they came back with was not A System Has Failed. It was A World Needs a Hero.
Oh.
And that album, I feel, sounds super phoned in. System Has Failed, I felt, was a great one.
I thought, wasn't The World Needs a Hero after System Has Failed?
No, it was before.
No? Oh, okay.
Because The World Needs a Hero came out, and then Dave had his arm
okay,
injury.
and then The System Has Failed.
And then System Has Failed came out, and that was the one that I felt like, yes, you guys are back. You guys got this shit.
Yeah, okay. I think
so
that was pretty much unanimous too.
Yeah, and that I felt was back to basics and really kicking that ass.
Because they had a series of good albums there. Because I think it was System Has Failed. The Endgame was one of them, right?
It was System Has Failed, United Abominations, Endgame, 13, which was kind of a mix between new tracks and kind of tracks that were in the vaults, into Super Collider, and then into